Welcome back. I farmed my gear. The only notable piece that I still have to upgrade is my main weapon, and I've found there is quite a dilemma with that because the weapon I wanted to get, you cannot get anymore because the tomes don't exist anymore, and I do not know how to get the right ones. Also, uh, they I have two options: either buy buy my weapon, which is not that much, or I could get the relic weapon for Shadowbringers. It's it's gonna be like a few quest lines, and I can buy like stuff for using tomes poetic, which I'm thinking about doing that because I just don't want to waste money buying like good set gear when I'm going to eventually get the best set once I finish Shadowbringers. Anyways, let's continue with the MSQ, shall we? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Akira Gods, it's good to see you. I hope your being here means you've had your fill of rest. More than my fill, not so much as 40 winks, truth be told. You're too selfless. That's your problem. But you'll be no good to anyone if you don't make a break every once in a while. Anyway, not much has happened since your last visit. I had planned for you to meet that helper I told you about, but he refuses to answer his link pearl. I do hope he's alright. We've been exchanging messages with the Erosion Alliance throughout, though they say the fighting has finally stopped at the Kim Lit Dark, and that the Empire's shown no sign of movement. Which means we might actually have a moment to ourselves for a change, seeing as you're back. Maybe you could tell me more about your time in the first. Great. Oh, and if you don't mind, I'd like to ask Flinhamin to join us. She'll want to know what happened to Minfilia, and I think it's best she hears it from you. We'll meet you on the terrace at the House of Splendors. House of Splendors. Okay, cool. Dude. So my goal for this session, well, for 3.1 is complete most of my things, like the MSQ, get ready for the first 24-man raid, and maybe okay, so let's see. Let me think. Resistance repping, just the first step, and then the Final Fantasy XV collaboration event that's happening right about now. Because you get the Regalia, yes, Regalia vehicle as a mount, and it's adorable to see a Lalafell driving a car because they can't hold the pedal. They just sit. I mean, stand on the seat. All right. Akira, it has been too long. Tataru did mention that I would be joining you, did she not? Thank you. Words cannot well express how I have longed to know more of the first. This world Minfilia has sacrificed so much to save. But come, rest your feet. Tataru should be arriving shortly. And so Minfilia chose to pass on her gifts to the next oracle, this girl who Thancred named Rin. To have such a burden thrust upon her as a child, want only to embrace it when given the choice. In that respect, they are quite alike. It would seem her legacy is indeed in capable hands. Akira, might I ask you a favor of you? When next you return to the first, to tell Rin what I cannot. To tell her, thank you. Ba-da-da. And I would offer thanks to you as well for staying with her to the end. Begging your pardon, but could I have a word? Oh, hey, what's up? How's it going? Long time no see. Riol, I hope you're here to tell me you've received a word from our helper. I wish, nay, I've not been a peep out, I've not had a peep out of him, and it's been a good long while now, too bloody long. On account of which I'm going to sneak over the border and see if I can't get a signal to him from closer up. But what if they catch you? There must be another way. Well, it ain't as if we can ask Tancred to do it. Besides, I shouldn't have no trouble picking me way through Himnet. Now the fighting's dead now. Died now. Down. My brain. Gods, no, there's enough shadow to hide in. And it beats waiting around here twiddling me thumbs. Any road, I just thought I'd let you know. Now, I'd be best be. Ah, I nearly forgot. Krell's at the stones as she's wants a word. Something to do with the patient. She was getting ready to examine him again when I left. We'd best head back, then. I'm sure it's important. Indeed. You needn't worry about me. Go on and see what Quile has to say. It seems she's still examining them. Oh, I do hope it's nothing bad about that.
You're here. Good.
So, how are they?
Still locked in slumber, but otherwise in good physical health. For the present, at least.
For the present? Oh no, is something wrong with them?
I'm afraid there may be. I summoned you after detecting faint signs of instability in Thancred's corporeal ether. But subsequent examination suggested all 5 might be affected. And when I examined them just now, my fears were confirmed. Tellingly, the degree of instability varies between them. Thancred exhibits the most notable signs, followed by Y'shtola and Urianger. The twins' ether, meanwhile, remains relatively stable, but there is a change there too if one knows to look for it.
Hold on. Isn't that the order they were called away in?
Indeed. Which leads me to believe the instability will only increase with time. Though I can but speculate, I fear this may be a symptom of a weakening link between body and soul.
By the gods! What happens if the link is broken?
I cannot say for certain. This is all unknown territory to us. Yet whatever happens, it cannot be good. Mercifully, the instability is still only slight. And you may rest assured, Master Matoya and I will do everything in our power to keep it from worsening. Be that as it may, it is imperative that you find a way to restore our friends' souls to their bodies. I realize you've only just returned from saving 2 worlds, but time is not on our side.
But where's she even supposed to start? We had the greatest minds in the realm hunting high and low for an answer, and they ran out of places to look.
You stated in your report that the Exarch had originally intended to reverse the summoning process by means of his own death, correct? Raha always was a reckless young fool, ready to die for the first righteous cause that came along. His plan might well have worked, but I for one am glad he never had the opportunity to see it through. Even if it does mean our friends must remain stranded a while longer. There is another way, I am sure of it. And the key lies with him, with the Exarch. Pray return to the First and apprise him and the others of the situation. We, meanwhile, will do what we can from here. And, if the fates are kind, we will have good news to share upon your return.
Alright. Take care over in the First, Akira. We're counting on you and the Crystal Exarch to bring our friends home. Don't you worry, Master Matoya and I will think of something. Alright, let's return to the Oklar. God, the rain effects. I fucking love them. The reflections, holy shit. I've I've always liked it when it rained in this game. It feels so different. I have no idea why. Plus, you're a little bit your character is a little bit wet. The armor just a little bit more shiny. Ah, so amazing. Yes. Ah, Akira, you are returned. I hope your time in the source was suitably restful. About that, but of course, wasn't. Go on. Their corporeal ether shows signs of instability by the gods. The possibility never even occurred to me. If you have returned in the hope that my research has yielded a solution, I fear you will be sorely disappointed. 'Tis but a mercy we have the likes of Mistress Krell and Master Motor to keep our friends' bodies safe while we wrestle with the problem. But they cannot forestall the separation of body and soul indefinitely. Come, the others must be told.
Pray excuse my late arrival.
Will Thancred and Reen not be joining us?
Nay, milady. With apologies to all, they beg leave to pursue their investigation of the empty to its conclusion. Should matters here demand their presence, however, they did assure me that they would make themselves available.
Yes, of course. Then let us proceed. I think it best that you begin by providing a summary of Mistress Kryle's findings.
I suppose it was only to be expected that some change would occur.
Yet our souls seem unaffected, to my eye at least. How long they will remain so is another question. Kryle is right. It is imperative we find a way to return to the source.
Perhaps an explanation of the method by which I brought you here will yield some inspiration. Ere I begin, it must be noted that I am by no means a gifted mage. In order to employ powerful magics, I must rely upon the Crystal Tower and its boundless reservoirs of energy. The magic that summoned you was no exception. 'Tis a singular spell, adapted through painstaking effort from the technique that transported me to the first. To use an analogy, it works by cutting a hole in the fabric of reality. A hole tailored to the object of summoning, through which it and it alone may pass unscathed. Though I succeeded in creating said hole, I failed to latch onto my intended target. Instead of you, the spell found those close to you, and ended up summoning them in their incomplete state. I would not soon throw my life away, not after the lengths you and yours went to save it. And so long as I breathe, I will spare no effort to see you safely home. But should all else fail, and your lives be at stake, there remains one sure method.
Oh! What was that for?
How can you even entertain such thoughts? You owe your life to the Warrior of Light, and you don't get to die unless she says so.
Your followers await your divine judgment.
What did you just...
If the two of you have finished, perhaps we could return to our discussion? Rather than dwelling upon the multiple failed attempts at transference, I think it would behoove us to focus on the solitary success. I would draw your attention to the fact that our friend can travel between worlds possessed not only of her body and soul, but her personal effects besides. This is no different from the teleportation magics to which we are all accustomed. Magics that allow for the transportation of those inanimate objects one considers to be an extension of oneself.
Are you suggesting that simply by considering us her possessions, she could carry our souls back to the source upon her person?
Well, it would be nice if things were that simple for a change. But vague notions of ownership seem a rather tenuous thing to stake our lives on. So much as a moment of doubt on her part and we'd be left floating in the rift.
Milady hath the right of it. The requisite fixity of belief would be too much to ask even of our friend. Yet were we to immure our souls within an object in her possession, mayhap then our safe passage could be assured. White Auracite would, I believe, serve as a suitable vessel for this purpose. It was conceived to imprison the massy soul of an Ascian, and should house one of ours with relative ease. We would need only to ensure our soul's safe preservation inside the stone, and identify a means by which they might be transferred back unto our vacant bodies.
Soul preservation and transference. I believe I know of someone who may be able to assist us. On the far shore of the source, there stands a great palace built by the elves. It was forsaken in the wake of the flood, but a certain MMO chose to make their home there soon after. Though they have long lived as a recluse, they once occupied a place of honor in Verbert's royal court, and it is said that none in all of Norvrand is more knowledgeable than they on matters of the soul.
Well, I've no objection to seeking a helping hand, but if they've gone to such lengths to hide themselves away from the world, what makes you think they'd be willing to lend us one?
A worthy question. Years ago, I myself tried and failed to solicit their cooperation in the battle against the Sin Eaters. No sooner had I begun to make my plea than they unleashed a swarm of their familiars upon me. Unlike me, however, you have curried favor with the Fae folk. By that merit alone, I am hopeful that they would grant you an audience. They may still be inclined to turn you away, of course, but if their knowledge might feasibly facilitate your return home, we have to try.
God, I really enjoy Alize. My favorite character, one of my favorite characters. I'm sick and tired of the Exarch's attempt at selfless sacrifice. If he suggests dying one more time, I swear I'm going to grant him his wish. Ah, bloody hell. The new Mao seemed such a welcoming folk in El Meg. What do you suppose could have driven this one to a life of self-collusion? A mage of surpassing skill living a life of seclusion. Now, where have I heard this before? That before. One can only hope they are more receptive to unsolicited visitations. 'Tis said the kingdom of Voibert was once home to the realm's greatest knights and magics both. To command a place at the royal court, the new Mao, whom we seek, must needs have been a mage among mages. The Grand Cosmos, that is, the place we seek, stands on the opposite shore of the source. I will arrange for a boat to carry us there. Whilst thou journeyest thither, I think it best that I devote mine energies to the creation of right oversight. By thy leave, of course, the process requireth no small amount of time, and should the new Mao consent to lend us their aid, we will have need of a suitable vessel ere long. Agreed, then. I would ask the rest of you to meet me in Solon, and do be prepared for a warm reception. Bum, 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 bum. Da, 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 da. Pray join the others in Solon. I shall turn my thoughts to the Orsite and apprise Thancred and Rin of our progress. Alright, Tulu, you're around, Jay. See you in a bit. I always fucking love how the characters are like, I hope nothing bad's gonna happen, and you, in the sliver of your mind, you're just like, about that. It always happens. It's always like bad news. I would to me, I would accept bad news over good news all the time. If someone's like, so I have good news and bad news, I immediately go with the bad news first. Bum 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 ba da da dun da da dun. And by golly, it's almost time. Only like a few months later till Endwalker releases. I'm excited. Oh, there we are. I'm excited. He said the place is on the opposite shore, but I see nothing on the horizon save empty sky. Curious. What the fuck? Okay. My brain's not working. Alright, the exarch said to prepare for a warm reception at the palace. Let's hope it's more cordial than his last visit. I was relieved to hear that the exarch indeed intended to arrange for a boat to carry us across the lake. Not that I would be opposed to swimming, mind you. Sure, water boy. As I told you before, I had scarcely set foot on the palace grounds when I was set upon by our hostess familiars, and I expect our reception today to be no different, which is why I propose we march through the main gate, weapons drawn. I'm sorry, but we are not here to petition for assistance. You can't honestly think barging in looking for a fight is going to persuade them. Actually, I believe the Exarch may have the right of it. They have no doubt poured a great deal of time and energy into their creations. Were I them, I should be most interested to meet with those who could overcome my defenses, as would any true seeker of knowledge. And there is little we can say or do to convince them to help us if we know nothing of their creation, their character, nor less why they chose to hide themselves from the world. But if we can seize their interest, mayhap we can earn ourselves an audience. Weapons drawn it is, then. Though I must say, Exarch, you certainly seem to be enjoying all of this. Do I? Well, I will not deny that I enjoy the thought of fighting alongside you all rather than pacing about inside the Crystal Tower. You both seem to be in rather high spirits. If you ask me, not that I'm surprised, your moods invariably improve when Akira is around. What exactly are you implying? She averted a calamity, and the light which seemed destined to consume her has been extinguished. 'Tis only natural that we be pleased to see her. Yes, well, you will have plenty of time to celebrate her good health after we've finished here. Of course, then let us proceed to the palace. Bum, bum. The Grand Castle is now accessible. Alright. Our first, well, one of our first dungeons for this batch. Well, only dungeon. Anyways, till next episode, fare thee well.